Welcome back to another episode of Travelpreneur, where we delve into the fascinating world of travel innovations and insights. I'm your host, Megan McSwain. Today, we're joined by with Martinique Lewis, a pioneer in promoting inclusivity in travel through technology and advocacy. Martinique is the tech founder of the ABC Travel Green Book app and the executive director of the Black Travel Alliance. Today, she'll share her journey and the impactful work her organizations are accomplishing globally. Welcome to the show, Martinique.
Thank you. Thank you. And just so you know, you can call me Marty. That is totally fine.
Love it, Marty. Great. Marty, can you tell us about the inception of the ABC Travel Green Book app and its core mission?
Yeah, absolutely. So in 2020, I actually released the ABC Travel Green Book, and it was based off of Victor and Alma D. Green's Negro Motors Green Book, which was in publication 1936 to 1966. And the reason it was there was to help African Americans be safe while traveling up and down Route 66, because what a lot of people don't realize is we could not drive from state to state without the risk of losing our lives. So this resource has provided those Black-owned hotels or hotels that were welcoming to Black travelers, the service stations where they could stop, the restaurants where they can stop, the communities and the tourist homes where they can stop. And so keeping that same idea, I then turned it into a modern day green book. And in 2020, like I said, I published a book, self-published on Amazon, and I sold about 10,000 copies in about 2 months. And so understanding that the future of travel is technology, I had to figure out a way to pivot and to pivot quickly if I still wanted to be, this top industry voice when it comes to Black travelers. And so then the ABC Travel Green Book was then created. I'm happy to say that 3 days ago, we did celebrate our first full year. We have hit our milestone of 10,000 users for the end. We are doing extremely well. Unlike the Negro Motors Green Book, the app does show you the world instead of just the United States. So we have over 170,000 listings across 6 out of 7 continents because nobody lives in Antarctica. And we are growing daily when it comes to, new Black-owned businesses. We're growing daily when it comes to users. And the best thing that you can do is also talk to other users on the app and connect with them on the app. So similar to a Bumble where you can see who's in your area, you can connect with people around you and then go support Black-owned businesses together.
Can you share a story or feedback from a user that really illustrates the positive impact the ABC Travel Green Book has had on their travel experience?
Absolutely. So one of my friends, actually, her name is Kimaya, and she has Key to MIA tours in Miami. And for our first 3 months, Miami CVB purchased ad space within the app so that I can share Black-owned itineraries with all of the users. And Kimaya's Melanin Miami tour was one of those places that I actually recommended. And she saw tons of traffic, tons of people coming into her destination and actually taking her tour, which doesn't normally happen because they don't know she's there, let alone know the Black history of a place like Miami. And just for people who don't know, Miami was built by Black people, by Black Bahamians. Miami sand is sand from the Bahamas. So there is this, woven history of Black history that you don't know. You just think South Beach. So that's definitely a positive, one of the things that I've seen. And then some of the newer hotels that have opened overseas that are Black-owned hotels have seen an uptick because those are something that we put on our Explore page with recommend a business. But yeah, we've seen it be positive all over the world where somebody will say, hey, somebody said that they saw us in your app and they came here because they didn't know there was Black-owned businesses in Norway. So things like that truly excite me, and that's what really keeps me going. But I'm proud to be able to do that because that's all about social economics, right? And that's all about community support. So those are just some of the ways that, the ABC Travel Green Book app has been a great addition to other Black-owned businesses.
Clearly, stories like that, I'm sure there's countless stories that kind of stuff really motivates you. What are the main goals of your organization? What does the future hold?
Yeah, so for ABC Travel Green Book, we'll be changing the name sooner than later. It's a little long and, it's a one word, so we'll be changing the name. But the biggest thing that people will see implemented as soon as this Saturday is our AI chatbot. And the reason that we put in this AI chatbot is, okay, now we know the future of travel is technology, but now we know the future of everything is AI, right? And when it comes to AI-generated help, none of them speak to Black travel preferences, nor can they really understand the way that we talk, nor can they speak to the things that we're asking it to do. And so I work very closely with TripAdvisor. They are great partners of mine, but even TripAdvisor's AI chatbot, if I go and I ask, where are the Black people in Ecuador? They can't tell me. They'll say, Blacks in Ecuador make up a small percentage. They can't tell me that they're in Cuenca. They can't tell me that they're in Chota. They can't tell me that they're in the specific place in Quito and that they celebrate their Afro-Ecuadorian heritage every November. It cannot tell me that. So we created AI chatbot that was specifically towards Black travel preferences and trends. And so that's the next big thing, because there's nothing like that out in the market. And so the goal is to be able to then take this technology and sell it back to DMOs and CVBs, so that when somebody goes on their sites and they type in Black-owned restaurants, or what are the top Black festivals in Houston, Texas every year, or where are the high-end Black restaurants, this technology can be able to spit it out like that. And it's all user generated. So that's the other great thing, right? It's all user generated, but understanding that machine learning is very different and it's still biased. So that's one of the biggest things that we're doing next that I'm extremely proud of.
The Black Travel Scorecard is a notable initiative by the Alliance. How does it work, and what changes has it spurred in the travel industry, in your opinion?
Yeah. So initially on my own, I used to do the diversity and travel scorecard. So that was something that I put out into the industry, because before 2017 and 2018, we didn't have anything or anybody saying, what are you doing to support BIPOC travelers, or what are you doing to support diversity? So taking that same concept, I took it over to the Black Travel Alliance in 2020, because we wanted to show the rest of the industry that there is a problem when hiring Black talent, when amplifying Black stories, when working with Black-owned businesses, when your conventions are coming in here, with supporting Black events that are being brought to your city. And so what it did is it amplified the disparities that were really going on within the travel space. And even though that data is extremely important, what it does now is continues to amplify how much of a problem we still have. We know in 2020 and 2021, everybody was beating diversity over the head, just diversity, diversity, diversity. And we know in 2024, it doesn't look the same. Budgets have depleted. People are like, oh, okay, that's over now, on to the next thing. And we're like, no, it's not over. Exactly. And so even last year when we came out with the study, there was a significant difference on how many brands actually participated, almost by 70%. And that is a problem. Why aren't you answering these questions? Well, because you even haven't done anything since 2020. You haven't been able to get the budget that you needed. You haven't implemented what you said you were going to do. And we know that, right? So it's just one of those things where we can continue to pray for the industry, where we can continue to try to show the industry the best way to moving forward, to make sure that the, ground is level and that the playing field is level. But, truth be told, nothing changes if nothing changes. I'm always still optimistic. We understand that Rome wasn't built in a day, but you do have to put one foot in front of the other to be able to be successful. So yeah, it's something that I closely watch. It's something that I often talk about. And actually, on June 11th, Black Travel Alliance will be having our annual State of the Industry event. And we always do it every year to show the industry where they are now, based off of where they were in 2020 when we first started. So it should be interesting.
Yeah. Looking forward, what developments or new projects can we expect from the ABC Travel Green Book app, besides the new name, of course, which
besides
I know you're excited about?
Yeah, besides the AI chatbot, right now, honestly, that's it. A lot of Black founders don't have access to things like they need to. And I have been fortunate enough to have that access, but I also acknowledge that I am a travel girly. I am not a tech girly. So I'm still learning, right, and understanding how to grow the app as much as possible. But the biggest thing is I want to make sure that I get it in different languages, and I want to make sure that whatever we're doing on the continent of Africa, that I am able to source all the Black-owned businesses. And the reason that I say this is because people assume because it's Africa that it's Black-owned. And I'm like, no. First of all, there's 54 countries in Africa, and not all of filled with Black people. But even more so, we have to understand, because whoever came over and colonized whatever countries, that's who owns the businesses, right? Or there are a lot of Asian entrepreneurs who are coming in now, building things, and instead of hiring locally, are bringing other people from Asia to come in and work. And so there's issues there, right? So when we go out and we seek places, for example, I was in Rwanda last year this time. I'm walking through the hotel and I'm thinking, why do I see Prince Charles and Camilla hanging up in Kigali? I said, this is Rwanda. I said, you know what I mean? I'm like, this is mind-blowing. And so I asked them, where are the Black-owned hotels? Oh, well, there aren't that many. Why? This is Rwanda, So things like that continue to happen. I really, really want to grow our presence on the continent. But the bigger thing is I want to grow our presence outside of the United States, Europe, and the UK, because the thing is there's Black people everywhere. I want the ABC Travel Green Book app to be used every single day. So not only when people are traveling, but when they just want to support Black-owned businesses around the world, but also making sure that that language barrier is no longer there, and making sure that we have enough businesses listed, enough events listed in every single place that we are. So, you know, I'm constantly just trying to think of new ways, new partnerships in terms of that growth track, because that's what it's going to take, partnerships. And so I've been really, really fortunate thus far to have a lot of DMO partners. And I'm trying to get more specifically on the continent. But South Africa has been amazing to me, as well as Sierra Leone. And so 52 more to go.
Well, it's really admirable that you're, you know, getting so many eyes and so much awareness on this, because like you said, I mean, even Miami, for example, anyone in the US will know, yeah, Black-owned businesses or the Black culture there might not be the first thing that comes to mind in a place like that. So when you look at it globally, it's really impressive that you are kind of bringing that awareness from all over and showing people, yeah, there are people doing this. There are people who own these hotels. So really, really great work. What advice would you give to someone looking to start their own venture in the travel industry, particularly in creating more inclusive spaces?
Yeah, I would say, for one, be secure in yourself, so nobody can tell you anything about your business, and so nobody can discourage you from what you are building. It is very difficult to be a Black woman building a Black app, a Black travel app in the travel space. And part of the reason is just because there's nobody else who I can ask to help me, right? When you think about any of the travel apps right now, I can count on my hand how many are Black owned. And so I would say stick to your guns, make sure that you're secure in what you're talking about, and keep going. You know, last year I was crying because I couldn't find people who looked like me to ask for help. This year I have a plethora of them. And that's because I also put myself out there. So make sure that, you know, you put in your Google search, every time something comes up about a travel, you know, pitch competition, that you're notified so that you can continue to apply until you get a yes. And the biggest thing about being a travel entrepreneur is, even more than money, you want the mentorship, you want the access, you want the opportunity, you know, and you want the network. And so go to the travel conferences, sit on the front row, ask questions, make yourself known in the space so that you can get the help that you need, so that people will definitely support you 100% of the way. So that's the advice that I would give people.
Right. In this way that you're saying is that this space is only going to get bigger and bigger. Think about it and say, well, there's no one else doing this, I'm not going to do it either. Then the space will never kind of expand.
Exactly. It's up to you.
How do you, right, yeah. How do you see technology continuing to transform the travel industry for marginalized communities? Clearly, it's a benefit, it's helping, but there's challenges as well.
Yeah, and there are a lot more brands who are doing things for specific communities. And I really, really appreciate that, because can't nobody tell me about Black travel anything but myself, right? So it's one of those things where it's like, okay. And so we definitely see that transforming in every single accelerate I see. There are, you know, a Mexican tech founder creating something like the ABC Travel Green Book app, but for Mexicans. You know what I mean? Like, it is so profound and so amazing, because now we have the opportunities to be able to speak to our communities and to be able to say, we're going to create community digitally now, and so that we could connect culturally and safely when we go from place to place. And I want people to understand, this is nothing new, right? The original Negro Motorist Green Book was based off a book that the Jewish people created for the Catskills. And so because they were friends with Victor Hugo Green, he took their concept and then created something about it. The same thing you saw in Tennessee. They created the Orange Book so that people knew where they were needed to be able to help marginalized communities. So it's really something that just sparks. But I know we'll be able to continue to see that as there are more and more resources for marginalized communities in the tech space.
That is amazing. And I hope so. And I hope to connect again with you in the future to sort of look back on all of this and see how it's progressed. Thank you, Marty, for sharing your inspiring journey and the transformative initiatives you lead. Your dedication to enhancing travel inclusivity and representation is truly commendable. Let our listeners know where they can connect with you and where they can learn more about the ABC Travel Green Book app.
Yes. So if you guys are on LinkedIn, which I hope all of you are, as entrepreneurs, we must be on LinkedIn. That is where I get 70% of my brand partnerships. That is how people know who I am. So please connect with me on LinkedIn. Martinique Lewis is my name there. And also the ABC Travel Green Book app has a page as well. On social media, my personal is Marty_San Diego. That is the same on X, also known as Twitter. And then on Instagram is also the ABC Travel Green Book. And that's how you can find Black-owned businesses visually throughout the world through my page there. So again, thank you so much for having me. You can follow the websites as well, martysandiego.com and abctravelnetwork.com.
Thank you so much. We will definitely connect. To our listeners, please don't forget to follow, subscribe, and leave a review for more insightful episodes. Until next time, keep exploring and pushing the boundaries of travel. Safe travels and goodbye.